Question of the day. In your favorite abstract type games, what's just a little bit of theme that makes it go from being we're pushing cubes or making numbers or moving things around the board to, oh, that kind of makes sense thematically? What is it that really, that little last detail that really adds to a game that makes it push it into its thematic portion, even if it's still just an abstract or a trick taking or something like that, right? Which brings us to a very sinful game today called the Deadlies. No, it's not sinful in that sense. It's just all about you're trying to get these 7 deadly sin cards out of your hand, and the person that does that 3 times first wins the game. Let's take a look at how you actually play this game right now. All right, first things first, you deal everyone out their hand limit. Everyone gets one of these tokens, which indicates which amount of cards they get in their hand in which round. So if you empty your hand first, you then drop down to a 4-card hand limit. You empty your hand again, drop down to a 2-card hand limit, and then to a 0. So it's kind of like a sudden death in a sense, but the first person who goes out completely and empties their hand 3 times, or empties it to where it's 0 left, wins the game. So essentially ridding yourself of all the sin. There are different cards and they all do different things, but on your turn, you're going to play as many cards as you want. Now, there are a couple rules about this. You can play as many as you want of the same number or of the same type, or you can do a straight if you want to, 0 to 8. Now, you can't wrap over the top. So, for instance, I could do this 4, 5, 6 right here, 4, 5, 6, 7 if I wanted to, and then the top card, whatever's left, is the one that keys. So, 4, 5, 6, 7 is my cards. I'm going to lay them out there. Boom, pick a partner, they choose A, nothing happens, or B, you may each discard a card. Each player that discards less in this way forces the player to draw 3 cards. So you could both choose to discard a card and get one of them out of your hand, or you could play the person across from you and think, no, I've got this. I'm not going to stick you like that. And then you do play a last card and force them to draw cards, which means that you will, in fact, lose a card and they will gain 2. So a lot of little gamesmanship like that, but they all do different things. And depending on what's on top of your stack, whether it be all the same card, all different cards, like I did in the straight, or again, all the same cards based on number, then whichever one's on top is what's going to key. So let's go through what these individual powers do. Greed, this one's my favorite. You're going to deal cards to the others because it's a gamble. You may stop after dealing at least 2 that are not greed. However, if any 2 other than greed match suits, stop and place them all into your hand instead. If you do it 5 successful cards, you can discard your entire hand. So it's a total gamble, but come out all right. Ask another player if they have pride. If they don't, they draw a pride card. If they can reveal pride, you draw a card instead. So they're all kind of gambles. This one's interesting. See, when you place your sloth down, you'll take the top card from sloth and put it in front of you. Then you discard it at the beginning of your next turn. Hence the sloth idea. All opponents with a sloth in front of them must draw a card, right? So that's if somebody plays this and you have this sitting in front of you, you've got to draw a card. So sloth. Gluttony, man, that's a lot of spaghetti, right? Anybody? No? Anyway, either take a random card from another player's hand or draw 3 cards. Then take another turn. That's interesting. Envy, draw 2 cards. Then, if you do not have an envy card in your hand, you may trade hands with another player. That's pretty hardcore if you get there early enough. So I love the art. Art is fun on all these cards here. It's just really well done. Wrath is another one. You force a player to draw 2 cards, but you can both back and forth that if you want to. After drawing, they may immediately discard a wrath, forcing you to draw 2 cards, and you go back and forth until somebody can't discard a wrath card anymore. Those are all of the main 7 ones there, but there are 2 more cards in here that I'm going to show you. One of them is a wild card. It is I believe it's Calamity, Corruption card. This because it's all 7 suits and you choose a suit when it's played, but there's also this Halo, which immediately, if you have it in your hand, causes you to discard your hand. So there's purity, you put the Halo in your hand, so you draw it in your hand. Once you get the Halo, you discard your entire hand. It's nice. It's just really nice. So that's essentially how the Deadlies is played. It is an interesting concept because it does move quickly. I like that about any kind of trick taking or quick, well, this is a trick get ridding of game, I guess is what you call it. It's almost like an Uno with a theme to it, but I like the idea that it does move rather quickly, right? And the art is interesting on the cards. They're all pretty well done. And it's a cartoony style, but they do have a nice kind of thematic theme to them and a look to them, which is fun. So as far as the mechanics themselves, I like the idea that you can do multiple of the same number, multiple of the same type of card, or you can do a straight if you want to. But the cool thing is only the top one activates, so that actually provides a lot of combos, because there are some times when, even though they all technically are relatively beneficial, you can get kind of stuck sometimes depending on what you have in your hand based on what other people play. So being able to get rid of them in a straight and not have to actually do their power, but only doing the power of the one that you're most confident in, is kind of nice. So that is the interesting part about it, because I mean, yeah, it might be nice to play 4 greed cards out there, but if you have to deal those cards out and it ends up hurting you, you're going to draw a bunch of cards back into your hand, right? Same with lust, where if you think, well, I'm pretty sure they don't have one in their hand, but if they do, they're going to play it naturally. They're going to discard it and force you to draw 3. So you kind of have to be careful, because you most likely just played all your lust cards out there. Maybe you're holding back 1 just in case they do that, so you can both discard. But interesting little things like that make the game kind of unique, how it combos back and forth. It is take thatty, but it's not the meanest take that in the world. In fact, it's relatively quick take that. The only one that's kind of take thatty would be wrath, in the sense that you're forcing them to draw 2 cards immediately. But it's fun because it's a tug of war, because they can immediately respond and go, no, you draw 2 cards, no, you draw 2, and keep going until nobody can respond with that. So this is actually it's not my type of game typically, this sort of, to have cards in your hands and discard. I love games like 6 and Empty and things like that, but my favorite types of games are actual board Euro games, things like that. But this one, it catches my attention because it has enough simplicity factor that you're not going to just be bogged down in this for hours. There are some card games that you can play that you're like, oh my gosh, when is this going to end? But it also always feels like you're about to do something when it's your turn. So I do like the Deadlies. I think it's an interesting card game that can provide a lot of fun filler, but also can be pretty strategic. So interesting game, the Deadlies. If you like these kind of card games, if you enjoy, if you're looking for a good new filler card game in the middle of game night, whenever we can start doing all that again, you might want to pick up the Deadlies. It's an interesting card game. So I'm going to give this one yeah, it's a pretty good. So not the greatest game in the world, not by far not the worst game in the world, but it's pretty good. It does some interesting things with the mechanics. So that is the Deadlies from Smirk and Dagger. Go check this one out.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.